Hey everybody, Alex Terrace here, healthhacksreview.com. So I just wanted to go over a therapy that some of you have probably come across because these types of products have been out a long time. It's called Pressotherapy or pneumatic compression therapy. Started in hospitals way back when, and I will show you a few different pictures here. This is a therapy you should pay attention to, therapeutic, because it is a very simple, direct, mechanical approach to address optimizing the lymphatic system and the microcirculatory system, and does have an effect as well on the macro parts of vasculature. And there's nothing else that can replace this, with the exception of actual manual certain types of massage, but I'll even explain in a little bit here why even that is not quite the same effect. So this is one of the technologies we'll be talking about from a company manufacturer that I love that makes lots of great equipment called Energy Development, which you'll see in the description box below the video, in Utah. And I will show you a few other companies that you may have run across that have downstepped version of this. So this one's kind of funny looking, especially in the silver. Just from the standpoint that it looks like some sort of thing out of an old science fiction movie, you know, from the 50s or 60s or something. So basically, right here you can see something on the legs, on the arm, on the chest, on the torso. All of this actually inflates with air in specific chambers, and on the feet here too. So and notice, just by the way, that there's a break between, like, there's a little space here around the ankles, which is unusual. A lot of the systems out there, which I'll show you in a second, have one long boot that squeezes the ankle, and a lot of people don't like this. This is a more sophisticated system from this company. And so let's just start with, what's the purpose of squeezing the limbs with chambers of air, okay? And I will pop up Normatec here just because it is a really good example of a company that has essentially done very well in selling these compression systems. And with Normatec, they mainly focus on the legs. Their systems are a little more pricey. So here's an example of what it looks like. So this is all over the athletic world, and you can kind of see the little segments even from the picture here, and the controller. There's several systems on the market. Some will not tell you where they're manufactured. Some will. There's only a couple manufactured in the United States, which I like the best. Some are very overpriced, some are very reasonable. So last time I checked, this was around $1,700. It might even be higher. They keep on pushing up the price over the many years. And then there's some that are like $500, up to $1,000. So it just kind of depends. To do the full body thing with a more sophisticated system, they're anywhere from $12,000 to $25,000, something like that. Anyway, so this is basically filling with a pressure, just your standard air pump sort of pressure, down through the feet, usually pushing in, filling each chamber along the way. So you're kind of squeezing fluid, blood, everything up through the body back, returning it to the heart, okay? And it's doing that on both sides simultaneously. And there's usually a few different programs that you can actually do that have like different pulsation rhythms and speed and pressure and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to say, just Google around, and they have an arm, shoulder, sleeve. I think that might be the back section, I'm not sure. But either way, yeah, they did raise the price just a little bit. There you go, up to $18.95, depending on how many attachments you get. And it's a great product, good company. It's not the only one that's out there, and I don't think you need to spend that much per se on this. But this is something, just Google around, check out what's out there, read about it a little bit more, because it is something that works extremely well for those who are having circulatory issues, and that could be a wide variety of conditions, as well as a wide variety of causal factors, right, that can affect the microcirculatory system. And again, the vast vasculature, the large all the way down to the small. And also this is excellent for those who are just more athletically active, let's just say, doing more exercise, who just want more optimization, recovery, less pain. This is also something that if you do any sort of weight loss program or use other sorts of body slimming technologies as a commercial clinic, I always advise that you use this in your stack. So people consult with me, and you can contact on my website that you'll see in the description box below, because I basically help both at home and commercial clinics to create stacks, which is basically how you position, sequence, sometimes simultaneously, multiple modalities to get overall a better therapeutic outcome or better results. And this sort of technology that squeezes the body, a pressotherapy sort of system, does enhance all kinds of other things. It could be oxygen therapies, PEMF. It could be literally exercise programs you have somebody on, lymphatic detoxification programs, body slimming technologies, so that's when you're zapping and moving fat out of the body, opening up fat cells, just really all kinds of things. So this is a good little site here. You can see honestly a lot of the benefits here. Anytime that you're basically bringing blood upwards through the legs, remember you have 70% of your microcirculatory system in your legs. That's thousands of miles and of that, and that's just not just your microcirculatory system. We're also factoring as well also lymphatic system. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. So by just mechanically squeezing just the legs alone, that has a tremendous amount. It saves the body a lot of energy from having to work hard to bring those fluids back up. Why? Because a lot of time in the day we spend sitting vertically, obviously. Okay, and so gravity is always working against us in a lot of different ways, right? And so we end up building up a lot of fluid, toxins, metabolic waste, things like that, just because of gravity alone. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, this started, though, in hospitals, people that were laying in bed all the time. So they'd want to avoid blood clots and keep the blood moving, especially in the legs, and improve the circulatory system. And blood coming back to the heart makes it a little bit easier. So that's where it all kind of started, in the hospital, with kind of like similar but not exactly, but similar leg sort of pneumatic compression as Normatec and other brands. And then we realized, oh, there's a lot of other benefits, and we can use this for other applications, right? So that's kind of how it all began. This whole body system that I showed you, by the way, from the company is $12,500, which is actually the most reasonable one on the market for the entire body. And this is something, of course, if you're just like really serious about detox or working out, or you have a fat loss program and you're trying to get big results. In other words, if you're really trying to get some significant results quickly, efficiently, the whole body system may be the way to go. Okay. Otherwise, if you just want to work on a few limbs at a time, or the back or the legs, you can contact me. There's some reasonable systems, and I like maybe just 2 out of the 5 or 6 out there, and they're around like $500 to $700, which is very reasonable for just working on specific parts of the body. But this company definitely makes one of the better whole body systems, so do have a check. And if you need a quote on this, you can reach me on my website. What else did I want to say about this? Since my own experience in using not the whole body system, but even just the ones on the legs, you know, and it was not a Normatec, but it's one that's a little bit more reasonably priced. But my experience in actually using the leg ones was a tremendous amount of increase in strength and endurance in my legs. That I noticed right away. I actually had about 3 times, I mean, it just seemed like literally 3 times the endurance, 3 times the strength, without having to change my training regimen at all. The other thing I noticed when I first started using them was I would get very tired after using it on the legs. Very tired. When that happens, it means a couple things, but it's more of a detoxification. Well, it can be a couple things. Let me back up for a second. One thing you may not know is in the back of the calves, a lot of people have tension there, and just start pushing around on the back of your calves after you watch this video. See if you find any tender areas. Now, if you're not doing calf exercises per se, or like sprints, or like something really endurance, intense on your calves, If you're sore back there in any spots, mainly that is caused by your sympathetic dominance, your sympathetic nervous system. So that's the one that's more like on fight and flight. It's basically stress, okay, chronic stress for the most part. So the body actually primes itself, it primes the limbs, and there's a lot of other metabolic changes as well, I'll not get into it, to basically run away from danger, okay, to fight or flight. People are in this phase all day long, even if there's no danger, okay, or even if they're not in the middle of needing to fight, anything like that, or run away. So the body primes with a little bit of, it primes the muscles in the calves and the nervous system to be ready to sprint at a moment's notice. So that's actually an interesting way to check, at least one way, if you have some underlying chronic holding patterns of stress. When you start using a technology like this, or even just get a massage, it will squeeze the calves, of course, amongst other things, and you will potentially, if you have some chronic stress, feel very relaxed and tired afterwards. That happened maybe 4 or 5 times until that effect stopped happening. So it was actually quite nice to do in the evening time. Now I also had the opposite effect with this as well, so I went through a couple phases. I believe the first few times I used it in the evening time, I could not sleep that night. I was too energized. So the energy can be caused by a couple things. More blood getting back to the heart and the brain, which of course is energizing, and that's awesome, right? We could use it first thing in the morning, get going with your day before exercising. The other thing though can cause more of a false sense of energy and that can also lead to sleeping issues that a lot of people have, is lymphatic congestion, okay? So these things do amazing things for moving fluids and waste interstitially. So when we say interstitially, we're talking about the fluid space between cells, okay, everywhere in the body, right? And it also squeezes cells as well, I might add, okay? So there is some things coming out of cells too, as well, through the cellular membrane into interstitial fluid, right? Then it's your lymphatic system, that's a sewage system, to help you then remove that, take it through the kidneys or take it through the liver, the bowels, etc., okay, for elimination, part of your elimination system. Now, if you have some congestion there, and the legs, obviously, as we said, hold a lot, if you squeeze all those areas, that's going to move up into the body and need to be processed, right? So if you already have some congestion there in your elimination pathways, or they're not as optimized as they should be, you may feel not well, or you may feel very tired, like very fatigued, or you may also feel very energized. So I know it seems counterintuitive, right? The energized effect, which can also happen during detoxification protocols, is because some of these toxins have like an excitatory effect on your nervous system, which isn't necessarily a good thing, right? That's why they're toxins, right? So essentially, it can be like a false sense of energy. I'll give you an example. So like some people that do a heavy metal protocol and are moving especially something like mercury out of the body, sometimes they have a tremendous amount of energy. But it's like a nervous energy. It's like you had 2 cups of coffee. That's the type of energy that it feels like. Because it actually has a very similar effect on the nerves, like caffeine does. Not identical, but similar in terms of how it causes this excited imbalance with synapse discharges and stuff like that, okay? So all I'm saying is these sorts of products, when you start using them, work on all these different things. You can have a wide range of effects. I'm now at the point, and it didn't take that long, where I can use it. It's in general just, I have some slight relaxation. I'm generally more relaxed in my nervous system and my body. And the energizing effect, I don't really feel whether it's the false sense of energy or the positive causal factors of energy, I don't really feel too extreme in any one direction, which is a good sign, right? I just feel like I'm relaxed and I feel like I have energy. And that's how it should be, okay? And you can modulate between the two. So now I'm just using it to do maintenance and in and around, sometimes also workouts. Usually, always, if you're doing exercise, the best opportune time to use it, of course, is sometime after working out. And the sooner you use it, I'll correct that. I actually believe that You don't want to do it immediately after working out, because there is such a good thing as healthy inflammation, all right, as part of a recovery or an adaptive response to exercise. It's good stress. For those that have excessively high, don't adapt so well in modulating cortisol and stress in general, they may not recover as well, okay, from working out and things like that. All right, so this type of tool can help with that. But I usually wait at least, because I'm in no rush anyway, so I usually wait 30 minutes, an hour, or whatever. Sometimes a few hours if I'm busy. As long as I'm doing it honestly that day after workout, I'll have really good recovery. If you have like a ridiculous exercise regimen for some reason, yeah, you probably want to do it a little bit closer to after, in a window of time of when you had worked out. Just a recommendation. But yeah, think about also if you have any people that don't do enough exercise. So that's the other thing too, is while this is a great tool for many things, including those who do exercise a lot, it is also fantastic for those that don't get enough exercise, right? Because again, whereas part of being healthy is optimizing lymphatic, optimizing microcirculation. That's super huge, very important for many reasons. It's because it has to do with getting nutrients to cells and getting toxins out of the body, away from cells. So 70% for all that kind of stuff, that system, that organ system in the body, in the legs is great from the standpoint that if you just used something on the legs or on the entire body, you could have a powerful effect on one of the big benefits of exercise, movement. Movement creates all kinds of pressure forces, arterial pressure forces, venous pressure forces, which also stimulate the lymphatic system. This is an essential part of many cellular metabolic processes. If you don't get enough movement, life slows down. A lot of life processes just don't work right, basically, and they catch up with you over time. All right. So this is a fantastic tool. Again, I actually recommend a different brand than this if you just want to work on specific limbs of the body. And then if you chat with me and we figure out that really, depending on your need as a commercial location or at home, you need something more serious or full body, I would recommend this brand. We can talk about that. But basically, this is again something really good, if not also being active enough and keeping things moving. Super helpful. And this can also be part of a therapeutic program to get a person back into being able to get more movement in their life again as well. All right. So these are all the sorts of scenarios we can chat about. Contact me on my website, healthhacksreview.com, and I'd be happy to guide you to what might be best, and also how to stack this with other modalities and protocols.